A queen's gift, a mother's refusal, and a royal fortune that slipped away forever. This isn't just another royal headline. It's the story of a home that was meant to change everything for two young princesses. Back in the late 90s, Queen Elizabeth had one goal: to give her granddaughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, a safe, beautiful place to grow up, a home untouched by scandal, press drama, or royal politics. She found it, a stunning Georgian mansion surrounded by quiet countryside, worth over £1 million. It was called Birch Hall, and it was supposed to be their sanctuary after their parents' messy divorce. But that home, and the promise that came with it, was lost. Not because of fate or tragedy, but because of one decision that changed everything. Today, we're diving into the story of the mansion the York family refused, the fortune they unknowingly let go of, and the shocking way that single choice still haunts them decades later. Because in the royal world, even the most privileged lives can be built on missed opportunities. It was 1997, and the royal family was still reeling from years of turbulence. Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson's marriage had fallen apart in full view of the world, and the tabloids couldn't get enough of their messy separation. But behind palace walls, Queen Elizabeth wasn't thinking about headlines. She was thinking about her granddaughters. Beatrice was just 8 years old. Eugenie, only 6, two little girls suddenly caught in the storm of royal scandal. The Queen wanted to give them something that money couldn't buy: stability, a place untouched by chaos, a home where they could grow up safely, quietly, and with dignity. That home was Birch Hall, a breathtaking Georgian mansion tucked away in the village of Windlesham, Surrey. Built in the 18th century, it was the kind of place that looked like it had been pulled straight out of a storybook. 7 bedrooms, manicured gardens, and towering trees that whispered of history and tradition. The Queen personally approved its purchase, around £1.5 million at the time, through trustees acting on her behalf. It was meant to be a fresh start for the Yorks, a gift of peace after years of public embarrassment. For a moment, it looked like the family would finally have a happy ending. But that hope didn't last, because what began as a loving gesture from the Queen would soon turn into one of the most quietly tragic chapters in royal family history. And the reason why might surprise you. When news spread that Queen Elizabeth had secured Birch Hall for her granddaughters, it seemed like the perfect solution: a grand estate, serene countryside, and a chance for the York family to rebuild away from royal drama. But then, something unexpected happened. Sarah Ferguson said no. It shocked everyone close to the family. Why would anyone refuse a gift from the Queen herself, especially one meant to secure her daughter's future? The answer, it turns out, was complicated. Behind the royal smiles and polite statements, Sarah was struggling. After her divorce from Prince Andrew, she faced mounting debts and a damaged public image. She wasn't just a duchess anymore. She was a single mother trying to find her footing outside palace walls. And Birch Hall, as beautiful as it was, came with a cost she couldn't handle. Running a mansion that size wasn't just about keeping the lights on. It meant staffing a household, maintaining acres of land, heating vast rooms, and covering repairs that could drain a royal allowance in months. Reports later revealed she simply couldn't afford the upkeep. Some say she feared moving into Birch Hall would only deepen her financial troubles. Others whisper that she wanted distance, not another royal property that tied her to a life she was trying to move past. So she made a decision, one that would quietly alter the family's future. Sarah Ferguson refused the Queen's gift, choosing instead to stay with her ex-husband at Sunninghill Park, their former marital home. At the time, it may have seemed like a practical choice, but what no one realized was that in turning down Birch Hall, she'd also turned away a small fortune and a fresh start her daughters would never get back. And as the house sat empty, time began to turn that decision into something much bigger, a symbol of everything the York family would come to lose.
Fast forward to today, and it's almost as if history is replaying itself, just on a grander, messier stage. Decades after the Birch Hall debacle, the York family once again finds itself at the centre of a royal housing crisis. Only this time, it's not about a home they refused, it's about one they're struggling to keep. Prince Andrew, long the Queen's favourite son, has spent more than 20 years living at Royal Lodge, a sprawling 30-room mansion on the Windsor estate. For years, it was his sanctuary, a symbol of loyalty and quiet privilege. But that peace has cracked wide open. Following his fall from grace and the backlash surrounding his ties to Jeffrey Epstein, Andrew has been under immense pressure to vacate Royal Lodge. Reports claim that he's barely paid rent in decades, sparking public outrage and questions about royal entitlement. Even King Charles has been dragged into the storm, reportedly urging his brother to move out as part of a broader plan to slim down the monarchy and its finances. And yet, the York family's response feels eerily familiar. Sarah Ferguson, still living with Andrew despite their long-ago divorce, is allegedly demanding 2 separate royal properties if they're forced to leave. The move has raised eyebrows everywhere. Just weeks before, Fergie quietly sold her £4 million Mayfair townhouse, only to turn around and request another estate from the Crown. To royal watchers, it feels like déjà vu. Another grand home, another dispute, another decision that risks public sympathy for the family. The same questions that hovered over Birch Hall are being whispered again. When will the Yorks learn to stop losing what they've been given? And caught in the middle of it all, once again, are Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, who have built their own lives far from the royal spotlight. But the echoes of their parents' choices still reach them, even decades later, because while the houses may change, the story of pride, loss, and missed opportunities never really does. While their parents wrestle with headlines and housing drama, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie have quietly carved out lives that look nothing like the royal chaos they grew up around. Princess Beatrice now lives in a £3.5 million farmhouse in the Cotswolds with her husband, property developer Edoardo Mappielli Mozzi, and their young daughter. Eugenie, on the other hand, splits her time between Ivy Cottage at Kensington Palace and a stunning villa in Portugal, where her husband, Jack Brooksbank, works in the hospitality industry. Neither sister holds an official royal role. They don't appear on palace balconies or take on taxpayer-funded duties. Instead, they represent the monarchy in quieter, more personal ways, through philanthropy, art, and advocacy. And maybe that's why so many people admire them. They've stepped out of their parents' shadow and built something real, not through titles, but through choice. But even as they move forward, there's still a lingering sense of loss. Every time the family's housing disputes make headlines, Birch Hall's ghost seems to return.
It's as if that one empty mansion from the past still casts a shadow on their story, a symbol of what the Yorks could never quite hold on to. Because for Beatrice and Eugenie, escaping the family's mistakes doesn't mean forgetting them.
When Birch Hall went back on the market in 2016, its walls gleamed with new paint, its gardens perfectly trimmed, its listing photos bright and inviting. Estate agents described it as a proper country house with spectacular gardens, a dream home in every sense. But beneath the polished surface lay something the photos didn't show, the ghost of a royal story that never came true. For Beatrice and Eugenie, Birch Hall is more than just a forgotten chapter in royal real estate. It's a reflection of their family's journey, filled with privilege, yes, but also with painful lessons. No matter how far they move or how quietly they live, the shadow of those choices still follows them. And now, as King Charles tightens the monarchy's purse strings and forces the next generation to stand on their own, the Yorks are facing the same question they did decades ago: how much of their life was ever truly theirs to keep? So what do you think? Was Birch Hall just another missed opportunity, or the moment the York family's true luck ran out? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more untold royal stories.